Apple's latest attempt at getting the pro users back to using MacBooks comes in the form of the brand new M1 Max MacBook Pro 16. So what comes in the box, and is it any good? Let's find out. Oh, it's so heavy. What's up, everyone? I'm the Everyday Dad, and if I can figure it out, you can figure it out. Yes, we just checked out the brand new MacBook Pro 14, but I think the M1 Max MacBook Pro 16, wow, I'm really, that's just rolls off the tongue. This one is obviously aimed at those that have the highest need for power. Let's see if we have the need for speed. All right, let's crack this sucker open. Now, I did get the version with the M1 Max processor. Now, if you look at Apple's website, I consider each of their like pre-built options a base model. So this is the highest end base model MacBook Pro 16 with the M1 Max processor, the 10-core processor, the 32-core GPU, 32 gigabytes of unified memory, a 1 terabyte solid state drive, and that partridge in the pear tree. Though, it must be fit in the box here somewhere. Now, this thing is going to be ridiculously powerful and is way more than I could ever need to run this YouTube channel. But I know some of you are going to want to see it, so let's crack this thing open. Are we ready? 3, 2, 1, go! Yeah, just like the MacBook Pro 14. It's just kind of disappointing. Like, we got to get... you need friction here. Like, it needs to be a satisfying rap. Like, rip. Not rap. Rip. And then it would be so much more fun to open up. But dang, this thing is heavy. Now, this obviously is... I haven't used a MacBook Pro 16 in a couple of years because I've been very thrilled with the Mac Mini and my MacBook Air, but you ready? Look at that behemoth of processing power. Wow. That's a big boy. That's a chunky laptop. All right, so let's see what we've got in the box. Yes, much like the MacBook Pro 15, we will get the MagSafe 3 charger. So you've got the MagSafe 3 with the USB-C cable. And again, much like the MacBook Pro 14 that we already checked out, and the M1 iMac, you get very high-quality braided cables here. And I really like this. I mean, this laptop is expensive. I can't say like, well, in this circumstance, it's not expensive. This is expensive, period. Like, I still cannot believe how much I spent on this thing. So it's nice to see that if you are going to spend that much money, you're not getting like Amazon Basics cables. You're getting some very nice braided quality cables. So I'm excited about that. In here, I will not be fooled this time, like I was fooled with the MacBook Pro 14. See, with the MacBook Pro 14, I thought that this little thing right here had a whole bunch of stuff in it, but it doesn't. It just has a spacer right here. You see that? It's kind of lame. It's kind of lame. That's where the partridge should be from the pear tree, but they couldn't fit it in, apparently. Okay, so in the box, we've got the Welcome to Your MacBook Pro guide, which just kind of walks you through, hey, here's your ports. Here's what all of the things built into it, what they do. It gives you some options to go find some other things, and then you get your introduction to the instruction manual. Now, this isn't the instruction manual. This is your introduction and where to find it. Kind of just would have been nice to have the instruction manual in there. And then the big thing about the MacBook Pro 16 is this is Apple's like ridiculously powerful 140-watt charging brick. Now, let's make sure that I'm giving you the right numbers as I make a big mess here in my studio. Which, if you knew anything about me, you would know that it's basically always a mess. Yep, 140-watt USB-C power adapter. Now, I'm not as big of a fan of this. Obviously, we haven't started charging the laptop yet. Maybe this is the best thing ever. But if you're going to give me a brick this big, why one USB-C? Why can't you give me like an assortment of the USB-C? If I go buy a third-party adapter, they're going to fill this thing up with USB-C. So it's like, why would I bring this one gigantic brick to be my charger? Like, I don't know. I am kind of disappointed by this right here. But then we get the coolest of cool, the stickers. And this year, I got to tell you, team, I love these stickers. I absolutely love them. The ones from the MacBook Pro 14, I'm going to put somewhere. I'm going to figure out a place to put these because these are gorgeous. But enough about the stickers. I know. Not everybody wants to hear me talk about stickers all day long. As much as I would like, we should make a whole channel called The Everyday Dad or The Everyday Stickers or Everyday Dad Everyday Stickers. Something like that. All right. Here we go. Ready? 3, 2, 1. That's much more satisfying with the paper. Look at this thing. Just like the MacBook Pro 14. It's gorgeous. I love how it's just stamped. It's got metal stamped MacBook Pro here. Obviously, I'm never going to see this unless I'm taking this in or out of a backpack or briefcase, because when are you ever going to see the bottom of your laptop? We've got the little rubber feet here, which will make sure you're not sliding around on the table. And then we got the important thing. We got the ports. On this side, we've got the MagSafe 3, the 2 Thunderbolt 4, and the headphone. Then on the other side, we've got HDMI. I love it. I love it. It's HDMI 2.0. I'm not as thrilled about that, but I love that there's an HDMI port here. I love it more than the SD card slot, which I'm also very excited that there's an SD card slot, and then another Thunderbolt 4. That is just a beautiful piece of engineering. All right, let's open this. Can we do this one one-handed too? Oh, I love it. You hear that just got that bass to it here. Take off that little bit right here. That is beautiful. Holy cow, this laptop is also gorgeous. And much like the MacBook Pro 14, they did something new with the speakers where you can't even tell they're there. And man, every time I see one of these laptops turn on, I'm taken back by how good the screen looks. And it's more striking here because the screen's so much bigger than on the MacBook Pro 14.
To use English as the main language.
Oh.
Press the return key.
Siri, I'm sorry. I'm talking, Siri. You interrupted me. That's not polite. The keyboard, though, the keyboard is gorgeous. I absolutely love how the keyboard looks here. Like we said in the previous videos, this used to be fully aluminum, but now they've got like a black finish to it, which just, the contrast between the silver and the black looks so good. We used to have the touch bar here. I will not say rip. I'm sorry if you missed the touch bar. I do feel sorry for you. I do not miss it at all. It was wasted space, wasted battery potential. Did not like it. We continue to have the Touch ID button right here. Very good. Gigantic. I mean, the trackpad is larger. Look, here's the giant, obnoxiously large charging brick on the trackpad, and the trackpad is like 2 of these put together. That's pretty wild. But I love Apple's trackpads. And then here, okay, this time it is set to United States. So the MacBook Pro 14 was not set to United States, but the MacBook Pro 16 is. Well, why does it sometimes work and why does it sometimes not work? Much like the previous MacBooks and the iMac, I love that Apple puts accessibility up front. You will continue to hear me harp on this, but everybody has different needs. Different folks have different responses to visual stimuli, motor stimuli, hearing, cognitive, all that stuff. I love, and I'll say it in every single video, I love that Apple puts this up front so anybody can set up their Mac however they need it to be. This is inclusive. I love how they're being inclusive here. Ooh, something I'm feeling like they did not correct from previous models. Can you see this right here? These are still very just jagged edges. So the thing is, like on the MacBook Air, it's slanted, it's not a problem. On the MacBook Pro 13, it's not as big of a deal because the laptop's smaller, like it's closer to the ground, but because this laptop's bigger, I don't know, I think we're gonna have a problem with comfortableness for typing. Maybe we'll do some typing tests to see how it actually feels. The keys feel incredible to type on, but one of the things that I do not like about laptops is when they have these jagged edges and it's not angled. It's like holding your arms here for any extended period of time. You're going to get those like divots in your arm and it's not going to be comfortable. Like you will have discomfort from typing on this, and I don't know. We'll have to see. This is probably the thing so far that I like least about the new MacBook Pros is I kind of wish, yes, I know they're going for this new angular design that we've seen since the iPhone 12s. Everything's kind of moving in that direction, but like not all of that tech. Like the iPhone, I don't rest my forearm on my iPhone all day long. Same thing with the iPads. Like even the bigger iPad, the Magic Keyboard is like that thin. It's laying on the table. You never feel it. But like this is, that's like almost a ½ inch off the table. And I don't know. I have a feeling this is going to be very uncomfortable. And I have a feeling like this is going to be the thing that I do not like about the MacBook Pro 16. I do anticipate that I'm going to have this plugged into a monitor and my working from home setup most of the time, but if I'm going to take this around, we're going to have some real problems here, I think. And then this is awfully sharp. Dang, can you see this too? Like that. You know, I don't want to be a complainer here, but I feel like design things that worked on the smaller Macs are not going to continue to work on the bigger Macs. The screen continues to be just absolutely gorgeous. I love what they've done with these displays right here. It is shockingly good. If you have not had a chance to go in and see one of these personally, I would recommend going in and checking that out because it looks incredible. Like it looks so good. Obviously, I did not expect to hate this laptop, nor did I expect to hate the display, but I am shocked at how good it looks. Okay, we've been talking, let's actually set up Touch ID. Touch ID is a good thing that we should set up because we are going to want to use it a lot. There we go. We are now on the MacBook Pro 16, and it, just like the MacBook Pro 14, it's so gorgeous. Like, look at this display. This display is just incredible. Is it as bright as it goes? Yep. full brightness. That is what you want out of a vibrant display. I shoot these videos in 30 frames per second, so you're not actually going to be able to appreciate how smooth it is while looking at like the mouse cursor, but believe me, it is smooth. Something that I've noticed from the MacBook Pro 14 and definitely seems to be a thing here is you'll notice the viewing angle. It's, you know, it gets dimmer as soon as you start moving away from like looking at it dead on. So if that's good or bad for you, you know, I guess that'll depend on your use case. I do kind of wish the viewing angle worked a little bit better, like a little bit farther away. Cause like, see, that looks so good. And that makes it really hard to try to get across what I'm trying to say from the top camera. Normally the top camera is what saves me on these things. In case you did not watch my MacBook Pro 14 video, let's actually check out the cameras on this and see how the cameras and how the audio sounds. Here, we'll do this one a little closer than we did the MacBook Pro 14, just so if you were gonna use this. Okay, so now we are on the MacBook Pro 16. This, I do, much like the MacBook Pro 14, I wish this was a wider angle camera. Obviously for right like this is perfectly fine for meetings or other kind of virtual events. But it's really like, you only get like what, a tight medium or like a tight medium shot or like even a close up. Like if you bring this any closer, hey, all you get's my face. So it would have been nice to have a little bit wider of an angle. On this, I did find that the MacBook Pro 14 looked really good even under these studio lights. Doesn't look as good as like the iPhone 13 cameras did, but it looks phenomenal for a laptop. I really like, you know, whether or not you like the notch that houses the camera, that's going to be a personal thing for you. Some folks are going to love it, some folks are going to hate it. I like that we now have a far larger sensored camera and we've got 1080p, and if they needed to do that, if they needed to solve that engineering hurdle by giving us a bigger camera and then also reducing the bezels, if the notch is the price we had to pay for that, I'm willing to pay that price. But yeah, so this is the audio from the computer, this is the image from the computer. Hopefully they sound and look pretty good. The keys, obviously I'm a productivity person, I spend most of my days typing. The keys, man, they feel good. They feel good. I haven't had an issue with MacBook keyboards for a long time now. MacBook keyboards are some of my favorite keyboards ever. I know Lenovo is generally considered to have the best keyboards, but Mac for me is the best. I'm sorry. If that upsets you, I use your Lenovo keyboard to type an angry comment below. But I think the keyboards on the Macs are fantastic. This one continues to be good, sound good, look good. Everything is good. Initial impressions, I'm very impressed with the build quality of the brand new MacBook Pro 16. It looks every bit like an upgrade to the 2019 versions. New keyboard, cooler looking keyboard, gorgeous display, speakers sounded incredible, new camera, ports. I think this is wholeheartedly an easy sell as an upgrade to a previous 2019 model. Is the higher end model with the Max processor worth it? Well, we'll figure that out. We'll do some processor tests, we'll do some video editing tests and see if the extra, what, like $1,200 I spent on this as opposed to the base model MacBook Pro 16, if that was worth it. Well, we'll find out. But what about you? What would you like to see out of the MacBook Pro 16 or even the MacBook Pro 14? Let me know in the comments below. I do try to get to what everybody wants to see because I'm not just talking to myself here. If I wanted to, I could just play around with the computer and then I'd be good, but I want to make sure that I'm getting everything done that you all would like to see. So please let me know in the comments below. And if you like this video and you would like to see my initial impressions on the brand new MacBook Pro 14, you can find that video by clicking right here. Click, 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 click. Thanks for watching.